Hi Five! Today and tomorrow in our final geography lessons we will be learning about counties and cities in our country. And so our writing opportunity today and tomorrow is going to be practicing writing relative clauses in sentences about the city that we live in, Bristol. So today and tomorrow we will be focusing on the counties and cities in England, more so the city that we live in, Bristol. And so we're going to be writing some amazing facts about our awesome city. So your writing and reading and your geography task today all link together. And your reading task today is to read the amazing facts about Bristol that I have attached with your daily home learning today. There are around 13 facts in all. I could have picked lots and lots and lots, but these are the ones that I found really, really interesting. And what I'd like you to do today is pause the video, read the 5 facts on this slide, then read the next facts on the next slide, and then read the final facts on slide 3. And I want you to pick 4 of your favourites, the ones that you didn't know that you found really interesting, or the ones that you would like to write about at the end of this PowerPoint. So I want you to pause the video so you can read all of the facts on the screen and write down just 4 numbers. So if you find fact number 4 and number 7, 9 and 11 the most interesting, you need to write down 4, 7, 9 and 11 on your piece of paper so you can remember which facts you found the most interesting. So please pause the video now and read the facts. This is page 2 of 3 facts about Bristol. And again, I want you to pause the video and read and then press play when you're ready to move on. And this is the final page of facts. Again, pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on. Don't forget to write down the 4 numbers of the 4 facts that you find the most interesting. Okay, so you should now have a little bit more knowledge of our amazing city and the history of Bristol, and you should have picked 4 facts which you found the most interesting. Now today you're going to write 3 sentences about Bristol, and it can be about the 4 facts that you have found the most interesting, or it could be facts you already knew. But you are going to include something called a relative clause in each of your sentences. Now, a relative clause is always linked to the main clause, and a relative clause gives your main clause, which is your main part of the sentence, more information. Bristol is a thriving city. That's a main clause. A main clause always contains a verb, which is a doing word. In this sentence, the doing word is. Is is a doing word. Can you think of your own main clause about Bristol? It might be Bristol has an amazing university. It could be Bristol has an amazing shopping centre called Cabot Circus. Can you think of your own sentence about Bristol? But the sentences we're going to write today contain a relative clause. This is like an extra sort of nugget in the middle of the sentence, which adds extra information about what you're talking about. So today, what you're talking about is Bristol. Bristol is the noun. It's a thing. A relative clause is always linked to the main clause. It just adds more information. So if you're talking about a boy who's sitting on a chair, you would say the boy sat on the chair. If you wanted to add extra information about the boy, you could add that he was tired. So your sentence would now read, the boy, who was tired, sat on the chair. If you wanted to write a sentence about an ice cream that melted, you could write, the ice cream melted. But if you wanted to add extra information, you could say, the ice cream, which was delicious, melted. Do you notice how when I pause, there's a comma? Don't forget the commas today. There's one at the beginning of the relative clause and one at the end. That means if you take that entire clause away, your sentence would still make sense without it. It wouldn't be as good, but it would still make sense. A relative clause must start with a relative pronoun. Don't worry if you're not quite sure what this means just yet. I'm going to tell you what relative pronouns are in a second. They are words that usually begin with W. These are relative pronouns: which, when, who, whose, and where. So when you're wanting to add extra information about a person, you would probably use who or whose. If you wanted to add extra information about time, you would probably choose when. If you wanted to add extra information about a place, you would use which or where. So every sentence you write today needs to include one of these blue words that begin with a W. Can you spot where these are in these three sentences below? I can't eat that chocolate bar because it has nuts in, which I am allergic to. Mangoes, which are grown in tropical countries, are one of my favourite fruits. Jamal, who is one of the best guitarists in the school, has recently joined the school band. Can you see where my relative pronouns are? Well done if you spotted them. The first sentence, I'm giving extra information about the chocolate bar and why I can't eat it. In the second sentence, I'm adding more information about the mangoes. And in the third sentence, I'm giving you more information about the person I'm speaking about, Jamal. So, relatives stick together. Your relatives in your family, who I'm sure you love, stick together. It's the same with relative clause. You are writing an extra clause, which is related to the main clause. So you can't just write it in a random place. Let's check these out to see what we mean. Number 1, the boy sat on the chair. Who was tired? That doesn't make sense. It sounds like the chair was tired. Let's read number 2. The boy, who was tired, sat on the chair. That makes more sense. We now know the boy is the person who was tired. The boy sat, who was tired, on the chair. No. The relative clause needs to be about what you're talking about. And you're talking about the boy. You can't have the word sat, which is a verb, a doing word, in between. So your task today is to have a go at writing 3 sentences about Bristol. They must include a relative clause, which means you need one of these words in each of your sentences today. Which, when, who, whose, and where. Here are some examples. Bristol, which is the 11th most populated urban area in all of the United Kingdom, is in the southwest of England. Did you know that there are over 35 different places around the world which are also called Bristol? So there are 2 examples there, and I have used the facts that I gave you at the beginning of this PowerPoint to help me. So you should have picked 4 facts which you found interesting. Have a go at rewriting them, but include a relative clause. Don't forget the commas, and I look forward to seeing your sentences. Why don't you email me so I can read them? Good luck!